Hey guys, we're here and I thought I'd do a bit of a quick Q&A and see what we got to say, Michael has to say about training. So as many of you know, I'm a weight training strength and conditioning coach, and I think it has a big deal to play with SUP. But we're going to have a chat to Michael and see what he thinks and how he feels about that. So Mark, we spoke in the beginning about your early days and how you feel about how you moved into SUP. Can you just give us a bit of more of a background on how you got into SUP?
Well, my background is sort of in swimming, like surf saving.
Sure.
I sort of did that up till I was about 20, and then I found ocean ski paddling through a couple of mentors on the Gold Coast, and got really into that and on the surf ski, and then basically to get better at that and get better technically at that, I started kayaking and got better at that as I went along, and made like the senior Australian team, the junior Australian team, representing overseas, and like finished second in the World Series, the surf ski in 2015, won a World Cup race the same year, and then the next year sort of decided I'd take SUP professionally, and went from there. Getting to stand up on a good mates in the Gold Coast, Damien Gulliver, was starting a SUP company and asked me if I wanted to give it a go, and I did, and from there I saw a lot of opportunities, so I chased it.
So you moved quickly. I mean, you've moved up SUP ranks really, really quickly, all things considered.
Yeah.
And coming from that sort of background, although you moved up quickly, you've had a massive career before that in terms of other water sports, and that helped you a lot.
Yeah, massively. Like I've been like paddling in some sort of form for at least 10 years now, and previous to that, like I was always training like in surf saving or running or swimming or something like that. So like I've been training my engine for 20 years. So it's not, for me, it's not surprising that I've been able to do well. It's more so, I guess my ability to adapt has been one of my strengths.
Been a quick change.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So talking about competition, we were talking earlier about how you deal with competition. So the likes of Connor Baxter or some, when we were talking on Saturday, you said to me, oh, when you do a race and you're going for tactics, you know who's in front of you, so you know how to challenge and how to attack or when to attack and what your strength is versus them. But for someone that's new to it, so someone that's quite new to SUP, trying to get into racing, they don't necessarily know the person in front of them.
Yeah.
What sort of tactics would you use not knowing what the competition has?
I think if you're a beginner into the sport, you probably just want to focus on your strengths at the end of the day. Like when you go into a race, know what you're good at. If you're good at endurance, if you're good at sprinting, if you're good at really good wash sitting and then making moves from there, or something like that. So I wouldn't necessarily focus on other people when you first start. So when I first started last year, I worked to my strengths. I was really good at endurance. I knew I had top end speed for a long period of time, so if I broke, then I could maintain that pace. And I worked with that, but then when I became unstuck was where people try and, like, if they sat on my wash, they'd sprint finish me, or like my turns were really weak, or some of my skills weren't good into the upwinds and stuff. So once I worked out what my weaknesses were, then I started working them into my strengths. So
sure.
That's where your biggest improvements are going to come from, is your weaknesses. Okay. But in terms of racing, yeah, just you need to know what your strengths are.
Sure.
And focus on them.
So you and I were chatting. We've got a bit of a different technique, and you've found your own technique. As you said, you've come into the sport and you've found your own technique. So the progression of the technique, how do you feel? I mean, where we are now with technique, it's changed quite a bit. And you said the guys have changed quite a bit depending on what they're doing too. So a sprint technique versus a long distance technique. Kind of run that through with me.
So the sprint technique would be obviously more cadence, more acceleration through the power phase of the stroke, and just really quick, fast strokes for as long as you can maintain it. Whereas the distance stroke is more about like efficiency and still cadence, but efficiency over a long period of time, and you want to really be able to maximise that distance per stroke, every stroke, because you might be doing, 5,000 strokes in your race.
And you were saying to me you're doing 3 meters per stroke. Is that right?
Yeah, about that.
I mean, that's a long way. I mean, you're trying to develop. Is that something? So if you think about trying to improve, is that something you look at and you try and develop that, or do you try and develop power? Where are you trying to develop in terms of what are you gauging to say whether you're improving?
I guess I've always just paddled on feel. Like only recently where I've started really actually looking at apps and like the Garmin app, or looking at the Motion Eyes app, like look at those like different angles or how many strokes I'm doing on either side. So, but generally I know how I'm going, like how I'm feeling. I guess that's just something you can only learn through years and years of paddling. So yeah, that's what I focus on, is my feel.
Okay. Cool. So break down a week for me. You got a week of training, and you do, obviously you do a macro stuff, but let's break it into micro. A general sort of week. Approaching and training, every season is different, but let's talk in season, coming up to a race.
Yeah.
Break a week down for me.
I think, do you mean the week just before it or the 4 weeks before it?
Yeah, 4 weeks. 4 weeks before.
4 weeks.
General.
So I guess I did the 3 week block, and then I'd have a 1 week sort of recovery sort of phase into it. If I've already done say 2 months before that of like more endurance and strength sort of based stuff, then I'll come into my sort of power speed phase in that last sort of month, and still be doing some Ks, but obviously reducing the amount of kilometers I'm doing.
Sure.
Keeping the intensity there, but keeping the time on the water less, and just trying to just recover and sleep as much as I can. That's something that I've really focused on lately, is just, if I don't feel well, I don't train, I just sleep and rest. And if I've got a scheduled session, I won't do it.
Because that's something I think people battle with. I talk to my guys all the time, and like, the recovery is so important.
Yeah.
That's where you improve. And I think people almost feel if they're recovering, they're being lazy. So going into a session, and they kind of have this, I mean, we have the CrossFit mentality of beast.
Yeah.
There's none of that. Recovery is so important. I mean, it's where everything happens. So you saying that you have days where you're just not paddling today?
Yeah, like last Friday, I had a big week leading up to Thursday, and didn't feel strong. Coming into Friday, I felt a bit run down, a bit sick almost. And I just went, alright, day off.
Yeah.
Just slept, didn't train, sat on the computer, watch TV.
Are you scheduling days off also? I mean,
Sundays are off.
Sundays are off.
Definitely, but I'm pretty flexible. So if I have say Friday off, and then I think I need to have Saturday off as well, I'll train Sunday.
Yeah.
If I wake up Thursday morning, or wake up like I did this morning and I wasn't feeling that good, just slept in, I'll train either later today, or I'll add a session in tomorrow. So when I'm feeling good, I train a lot, and when I don't feel good, I rest.
Sure. So like yesterday was an awful day.
Yeah.
You can't get in the water. It's not going to happen. What are you doing instead? If it's supposed to be a paddling day, for example.
So I just did an hour in the gym, circuit training, and then I did an hour on the ski yoga, actually.
Ski yoga?
Yeah.
Okay, so a bit of something different.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So in the gym, what are you doing? What are you doing in the gym? You're doing 3 days a week, you said?
Yeah, so like if I've got like a short phase like this that I've got now, I basically just focus on circuits. Because obviously when I'm training, like obviously when I was over in the Euro Tour for 7 weeks, you tend to just try and maintain what you already built up before you went over there. And then coming back, I'm trying to really rebuild that base, so when I go away for another 6 weeks, I can actually still maintain a good level of performance the whole time. Okay. So now I'm just focusing on circuits, focusing on 4 exercises upper body, 4 exercises lower body, and then 2 sort of core exercises. And then just doing them with like a 30-second break in between.
Okay. So you mentioned core, and obviously we spoke about on the weekend that core is not this. Core's your entire top upper body, if you will, including your hips. When you say core, what would you call a core exercise? What's your favourite? Let's call it a favourite core exercise.
I think a lot like hanging leg raises, or like laying leg lifts, like where you lift your hips off the ground. I think they're really important. I do like squat presses and lunges. Lunges are really important for like leg stability when you're on the board. Anything. I think as I said, I think I got a bit confused, but I think my core is sort of like my legs. Legs is sort of my core, from sort of here to here, because that's basically where most of your stroke's coming from. And if you lose that area, then what you're doing up here doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So we're talking about the connection between, your little finger and your big toe, for example. And that connection, how are you helping that from a functional movement point of view?
Yeah.
How would you connect? I call it packing joints. So I talk about if your lat's not engaged, you're disengaged and repacking, and how that connects to your hip, and then how fascial patterns, for example. But from a SUP point of view and your training, how are you trying to make that connection happen more? So for example, in the gym, how would you try and impact it a bit more?
I think going through like real range of motion sort of exercises, like doing the deep squat, or doing like the bench press, or doing like the bench pull, where it's like full range of motion, and coming through the whole range. I find that is really important. Like, so you're not just focusing on say like this bit of the bicep curl, you're focusing on the whole thing, because we basically are working through the full range all the time when we're on the water.
So that neural connection.
So yeah, you're trying to make sure you're connecting all the way through. Like, we're not bodybuilders, we're not really strength guys, we're not trying to like do maximum one effort. Like, we're never going to do that. Like, even if we're sprinting, we're doing 100 strokes. So it's not necessarily that important to be focusing on that really heavy conditioning. I sort of more focus on continual weight bearing, like the whole time through my session.
Sure.
Because that's essentially what we're doing when we get on the water.
I mean, and that's a good point, because the thing being, which again was power to weight ratio earlier, being a bigger dude isn't going to help you. So when you go into the gym, it's something you've got to have in the back of your mind, that you're not there to pick up muscle. You're there to gain strength and increase fitness.
Yeah.
In terms of nutrition, that's a big thing then too. You've got to watch your weight. And I'm not talking about necessarily body fat, but packing on too much muscle is an issue too. You want to have the right amount of muscle that's working constantly.
Yeah.
So the muscle that you have needs to be functional and firing. What do you do nutrition-wise to make sure?
Just on that point as well, like I don't think you can really gain, if you're doing a lot of kilometres in the ocean, like so you're doing 80 to 100 kilometres a week or whatever like that, like even if you are doing gym, you're probably not going to put on that much.
So you don't worry about that much.
I don't really worry and focus on that too much. Like if I was just doing gym each week and I wasn't doing any endurance, then it would be an issue, but because I do that really good balance between the endurance and the strength training, I never really have to worry about that.
Sure. So I mean, it comes down to there's nothing like being on the board. The board's the place to be.
The board's the place to be, or the ski, or whatever you do, like to sort of cross train to get that endurance base. So with nutrition, basically I just focus on eating healthy, making smart choices. But I don't just make healthy choices all the time. Like I'm happy to have a sticky date pudding or a vanilla slice, something like that with dinner. But I know I'm burning like way more calories during the day than what I'm actually eating. So
sure.
I'm happy to have that sort of that balance between really healthy and good food after I finish training and before I train and that sort of thing. I think that's really important before and after training. And then but overall you can still have a few little different things that are on the way.
Yeah. So what's your favourite?
Well, sticky date pudding at the moment, or apple pie, and they're my favourites. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So in terms of training and in terms of, let's call it strength training, SUP in general, if you had one piece of advice to give someone trying to move up the ranks, what would it be?
Just get out on your board and enjoy it as much as you can. I think people sort of get too caught up with I want to get faster, I want to beat this guy. Just get out there and just focus on yourself and focus on enjoying the enjoyment of paddling, because at the end of the day, that's what I enjoy about it. And I'm lucky enough that I can call it my job at the moment. Like I love paddling, so go out there and love it.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. And that's it. Want to thank Mark for coming in, and let us know, guys. To post up, Mark's going to do. You got some coaching coming up, don't you? You're doing some more coaching soon.
Yeah.
And what's the plan?
So I'm doing clinics in Sydney, Hong Kong, San Francisco, and Dana Point. And then you got a website coming up. Yeah, launching the website hopefully next week.
Yeah, what's it going to be? Michael Booth?
It's just going to be michael-booth.com.au. I'll be putting some more information up on my clinics, and I'll be doing some online coaching through my site as well. So if you want to hear more or talk to me more about it, you can through my site.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Cheers.